Forever Youth Pastor, episode 17. My name is Jeremy, and we are on a mission to grow. And so, this episode, a couple questions. Have you ever been to a wedding? Have you ever been to a funeral? Have you ever been to a wedding and a funeral on the same day? Right? That's pretty wild. That's not something that's very common. Well, that happened to me yesterday. And so I just want to tell you a couple of stories. And there's going to be some people, some I'll name specifically and some I will not. But I just want to give you a little taste of like what this life that my wife and I have been able to be a part of, being in youth ministry, being a youth pastor at a singular church in a singular community for 22 years. What happens over that time is just like the amount of people and the impact and the ways they impact you and the ways you get to impact them, it just compounds and it just multiplies over time. And so I want to tell you my story of yesterday going to a wedding and a funeral in the same day. And so it started in the morning with a funeral, with a celebration of life for my friend Zachary Skarka. And I just want to tell you the story of Zach because this is just one of the most beautiful, wonderful, incredible people that I've ever come across in my 44 years of life. This was just a complete and total world changer. This was one of those humans that you just knew this was just one of our real treasures. One of the people that you just come across that just seems to be interested in you. Just seems to care that you exist, just seems to like want to elevate you, wants to help you. And he, by the way, went through some things. Like when he was 18 years old, he had headed off to Boston College, one of the great academic institutions in the world. By the way, he's also happens to be like a mathematical genius. He took like high school math when he was in 5th grade. My wife even took him to the school to take these classes. I believe he got a perfect score on the SAT for math and went to Boston College to go and study math and do just big, hard things and solve some big, hard problems that we'll all be better off because he and others were solving those problems. And so he finished up his freshman year and he went out running one morning and he was light of breath. And so he went to the local emergency room and they said, there's a mass on your lungs and we got to send you to a cancer hospital in New York City as soon as possible. And so that started a year-long journey of working through one cancer, going through treatments, surgeries, all of that. And then the next year he had a reoccurrence or like a different cancer, in fact, that he then had to take a year and surgeries and treatments to work through. And so like of all the people like 0 to 20 that have just gone through some stuff, like Zach went through some stuff, some just incredibly hard stuff. And he just had the most lovely, incredible, supportive, loving family to just help him every step through that. But like he and I just the whole time, all the way through junior high, all the way through high school, all the way into those college/cancer years, we just built something really special. Like he was just for me and I was just for him. And we'd get together and we'd talk about silly stuff and we'd talk about sports and we'd have a blast together. We just did a lot of fun things together and just enjoyed following Jesus together. And Zach was also like my theology friend. He would like, he was very intelligent and he would just ask like these questions that for me, a pastor, like I should just be able to be the one helping him along in these conversations. And he's like throwing me curveballs and I'm just like, bro, I don't know. I got to look into that. You got to help me with this. We got to work through this together because I don't know. This is a special guy. And we were on a mission, him and 5, 6 of his friends, our friends, through high school, we were on a mission to win our local Youth for Christ flag football championship. And he was just our spiritual leader. He wasn't necessarily our best player, but he was our most important person. He was like the heart and soul of our team. He was the one that just gave us energy and gave us heart and gave us soul. And just all of us just knew how valuable and important he was to this team. And we started out on our journey when they were like just 7, 8, 9th grade boys, and just going against like local high school football players. Like we got pummeled. And Zach and his friends got bigger, faster, and stronger. And together we went on this journey to eventually become Youth for Christ flag football champions. And we were so proud of that. We were so proud of that because it didn't even matter. Most people would say, "What? That's not even a thing. What is that? What was even the competition? Local churches?" Yeah. Yeah, and we wanted it. And we came together and we worked at it. And we had strategies. And we had a leader. And his name was Zach. And we followed him. And he was 15, 16, 17, 18. And then we won. We won a championship together. We went on a mission to win this thing. And we did it. We did it together. Like those of you that have done something like that, you know the journey. You know the bond. You know who as a group you become along the way. And you know who's leading you. And by the way, you also know that it's usually not your best player. Usually when your best player is your leader, that usually leads to problems. You can even see that in professional sports. But you need that person who's the heart and the soul that's really leading you guys. That's also been through some stuff themselves. It's like been refined by the fire of life and is like come out victorious. That was Zach. Cancer twice. Victorious. When he put his mind to something, he just figured it out. He's just victorious. Things didn't always go to plan. I mean, I don't know. I've seen very few people suffer more than he had to suffer in his lifetime, including the last year and a half. Hence the reason why I was at his funeral yesterday is he got diagnosed with cancer for the 3rd time about a year and a half ago. And he suffered through that again. And I went to Florida twice to go hang out with my friend. Now, knowing each time that I would see him again, I was able to see him twice. And every time I went with the purpose of encouraging him, of lifting him up to see how he's really doing through all of this, to like help him, lift him up like he has done to so many others along his journey. And each time he just had this way of just turning it back to me. Like, Jeremy, I'm going to be okay. He was really sad for his wife and his kids, but he just had this peace about himself, peace about just confidence. He's had faith. He's had faith, like the faith that you know it'll be okay in the end, whatever happens. That no matter what, Jesus will be there and you'll be okay. I sat next to him multiple times in a car, in restaurants, in his living room, and he's expressed to me over and over and over again, Jeremy, I will be okay. And so yesterday we celebrated his life. And I just want to say this, to just paint this picture more fully. He's lived the last 10, 11 years in Florida with his wife, with his family, with his kids. And there was a service a few weeks ago down in Florida for him that I was just so glad to be able to attend and to be a part of that and participate in that. And then his family and our church family wanted to honor him here as well and do a celebration of life here in the town he grew up in the church he grew up in the community that he grew up in the community and church that loved him. And so yesterday, a month and a half or so after he's passed, we had a funeral for my friend Zach, and the church was packed. The church was packed. In fact, the lovely ladies who served the refreshments after the funeral, typical like funeral at our church, they pre-set up this overflow room we have in our church, and so they put all the tables. It's beautiful. They do a wonderful job. They just give in such a beautiful way when families are going through difficult times like that. And so I walked in last night and saw that they had it all set up. And I thought to myself, oh man, we might need this overflow space. And then I showed up the morning of the funeral, and someone had already started moving stuff around because they just knew that it would be full. And sure enough, we needed just about every single seat. Whole community, our church family just showed up to express their love, to express their sadness, to express their gratitude that they knew Zach Skarka, that he made a difference in their lives. And you hear the stories. And even just like how many people have come into my life that were friends of Zach, that Zach brought to our youth ministry and introduced them to me. And I have lifelong friends because of Zachary Skarka. And at this wedding last night that I was also at, it was a funeral in the morning and a wedding in the evening. I was with many of those friends that Zach Skarka introduced me to when he brought them to youth group 15, 20 years later. Or they were siblings of Zach's friends who he brought to youth group that I knew their siblings and then got to eventually know their whole family. And I'm sitting across from these friends, having been the pastor who officiated their wedding. And I probably know them, and I now love them because of my friend Zach. And I walked around that entire wedding, just people that my wife and I have just been able to do life with and to just do ministry with, to raise kids with, to be their youth pastor, to be their pastor. And it's just, I went from person to person as I just went around this celebration, this wedding. And I'm just so proud of like the men, the women that they've become. That many of them are now dads and moms. And you can like see their story play out. Some of them have like gotten married and they're now like our best friends. Like we just love them and are around them and just like love being with them. And so it's like yesterday, I just feel like it was just this massive sweeping metaphor for life, but also this metaphor for the Christian life that like sometimes people die. And I think one of the most important things about Christianity, about faith in general, about even religion, is like it just teaches you how to deal with death. And obviously in Christianity, just the good news that like there's hope. There's hope after this life. There's an eternity that is available to us with God forever. Putting our faith and trust in Jesus. And it's like just yesterday to just see like grief, to feel deep grief, to be on the stage telling the story of my friend Zach and just feeling emotion and grief and sadness, but also joy and gratitude that I got to live life with this guy. I got to be in his orbit. I got to be thought of by him as a great friend. And I got to consider him a great friend. And we got to do a lot of life together. And I got to officiate his wedding. And I also got to officiate his funeral. And I never want that story. That story sucks. That story sucks. That's hard. And sometimes like you don't even know what to do with that. You don't even know where to put that. You don't even know like how to like deal with that. Because that's not supposed to be the story. You're not supposed to be the officiant at their wedding and also officiate their funeral. It's not supposed to be how it goes. There's just deep sadness about that I and many people share. But at the same time, man, Zach Skarka didn't waste a minute of it. He just didn't waste a second of it. He just went for it. It wasn't always perfect. He got a lot of things wrong. All sorts of fumbles along the way. But man, he just kept going. Just never quit. Never stopped pursuing his Savior. Not once. He just kept going. First cancer. Nope, can't stop me. I'm going to keep going. Second cancer. Could that get him? No. No, it just gave him more fire. He just used it. And then he used those cancer experiences to help a lot of other people. We had one of our great friends that stood up in his funeral yesterday and told about her journey with cancer, and that Zach would call her regularly to help her along. Help her to know she's not alone. And so that's the kind of friend that I lost. And that's really hard. But I'm also really glad that I had a community of people to just navigate all of that with, who also love me and I love them. And we'll just keep doing life together, and we'll keep showing up at weddings. And there will be singing and there will be dancing. There will be celebrating. There's new beginnings. But we just keep going. We just keep going. And so some days, maybe literally, but probably metaphorically, it'll feel like you're at a wedding and a funeral on the same day. There's just these really good, beautiful things happening in your life. And some days, that very same day, you'll also have something that just takes your breath away because it's so hard. It just hurts really bad. And you don't know what to do with it, and you don't even know how you'll get through that. But you can, and you will. because the whole time, Zach just kept reminding me, and I knew this to be true, but I sure needed my friends' reminders, is that Jesus never goes anywhere. He's right there the whole time. He's just always right there, helping you. The Holy Spirit's with you every step of the way, the whole time, always. God, our Father, is there with us, always, no matter what we're going through. No matter how beautiful, redeeming, and celebratory it is, or how incredibly painful and hard it is. And maybe dealing with those things on the very same day. Our God is there. And that's really good. That's really good. And I think I'm done now.